When I tell you PhD student, what's the first picture that comes to your mind? I have to be completely honest and say that if I think of a PhD student, I think of someone in their mid to late 20s who started their PhD right after their master's, right after university, someone who doesn't have children, someone who has the time flexibility and the resource flexibility. Maybe they're doing their library thing, walking from the lab to the library, writing their thesis, having all the time without any external obligations whatsoever. However, this is not what the typical PhD student looks like. And in today's video, I want to illustrate and actually make you get to know some of the PhD students that I had the immense pleasure to coach in the last few months. So I started this introduction with the typical PhD student and how they look like, because I feel that there is this kind of idea of how the perfect PhD student looks like. However, in the last few months, I encountered so many people that actually challenge this idea that I said, okay, I have to make a video about this because those people do not get enough credit. Specifically, I've been coaching a mother of 3 who has a full-time job and kind of refused to give up her dream of getting a PhD. There is also a first-generation PhD student who actually submitted their thesis this June in a language that isn't their own. It's not even their second language. I would say it's their third language. So that's quite of an achievement. Then there is a medical doctor who has been doing medicine for many decades and now decided to pursue a PhD as well. And I would say that one of my favorite examples, a 54-year-old lady who decided that now is the right time for her to pursue the PhD that she wasn't able to pursue because her kids were little and she just didn't have time and mental capacity to tackle that thing. But now she's back at it and she also actually submitted this past June. So why am I talking about this? Because I'm a firm believer of visibility. I feel that if we see someone doing the thing that we want to do, we are much more likely to do the thing as well. So I wanted to kind of illustrate what are the realities PhD students are living in, and that those realities do not match the idea of, okay, I'm going to the lab, then I'm going to the library, and so on. No. PhD theses are actually written in cafes, on train stations, on the kitchen table while your baby is asleep, and knowing that you have to make every second count because otherwise you might not get another chance to write that paragraph that day, and so on. So I really want to challenge this idea of how the perfect PhD student looks like and how the perfect PhD experience or PhD journey looks like. And I feel that these stories really highlight something very important, that the only thing that you need is actually that you have to be willing to do it. You have to be willing to do it despite all of those adversities and all of those things that might be some things that are not really in your favor. Maybe you are short with time, maybe you are told that you're too old for this, maybe you are told that this is something that there is no way that you will actually achieve it, and so on. So if you are kind of recognizing yourself in this and you're maybe in the middle of your PhD journey, feeling that maybe that's not the right thing for you, I really want you to remember these stories and the stories of these people who actually succeeded despite all odds. I would say, yeah, despite all odds. And the support that they actually obtained from the group coaching program that I'm organizing, which is the PhD Reset program, how they got together, how they were learning from each other, and how many insights you can actually get and the knowledge you can get when you listen to other PhD stories, when you listen to other PhD realities, is something that I feel it's really useful and very nice to have, especially when you are in the process that you are maybe feeling down, you feel like you're not going to make it, you feel that you are not in the right place. So I really feel that this kind of community is a huge push forward when you are experiencing this kind of doubts. And this is exactly kind of why I created the PhD Reset program, which is a safe space in which we untangle all of the problems and challenges that are happening in your PhD. Maybe you have too much work to do and you don't know where to even start from. Maybe you are not having any support from your supervisor. Maybe you are getting back to a PhD after 20 years of working in another field. Maybe you are just feeling too lost and don't know how to make sense of all of this research. You have plenty of work done, but you don't know how to put it together in something that makes sense scientifically and narratively. All of those things are what we actually tackle on a weekly basis in the PhD Reset program. So basically, once per week we meet and you get to ask your question and get my specific coaching on your issue, on whatever is currently occupying that mental space that is not going to let you move forward with your thesis. So if you're interested in this kind of support, I'm going to leave a link down below in which you can actually schedule a completely free intro discovery call with me, in which we are going to discuss what are your specific challenges, what are your specific problems that you're facing right now in your PhD, and decide together whether the PhD Reset program is the thing that you need right now, the push that you need right now in order to finish your PhD without burning out. So I hope that you will be inspired by these stories as much as I am. And of course, as always, see you in another video. Bye bye.